Because the Court of Appeal and the High Court ruled years ago that elections should happen in 2027. So I'm curious, why revisit if it's already been?
Let's put into context the Court of Appeal decision. In fact, the Court of Appeal decision supports what I'm saying. Because in that constitution that you have, the only people who the constitution gave a 5-year term were the MCAs in Article 177(4). Specifically provided that a member of the county assembly shall serve for 5-year term of 5 years. So when the MCAs went to court, the elections were called on the second Tuesday before the conclusion of their 5-year term. They went to court saying, wait a minute, the constitution in 177 gives me a 5-year term. Why are you calling elections before my term comes to an end? You are cutting my term short by almost 8 months. And the High Court told the MCA, you're actually right. You are entitled to a 5-year term. But also, the Constitution calls for your elections to be held in the 5th year, the second Tuesday in August in the 5th year. So we are sorry that you are given a 5-year term, but the same Constitution said we must hold your elections before you conclude it. So your only recourse as an MCA, that's the High Court speaking, is to go and seek compensation for the period you've not served. The matter goes to the Court of Appeal. And the Court of Appeal says, yes, our system is that elections are held in the 5th year. That's what the Court of Appeal says. And the Court of Appeal proceeds to define when the count starts and even finds when the 5th year lies, where it lies. And the Court of Appeal, in its decision, Andrew Limo case, says the 5th year for that period was running from August 10th, 2020 to August 10th, 2021. But curiously, the court proceeded to say, but the elections will be held in 2022.
Oh, 2022.
That time.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was it found outside the 5th year, but properly defined the 5th year when it started and when it concluded. But there is no justification, there is no rationale, there is no ratio decidandi that the court relied on in arriving at the date of August 2022. But you can say that was not an issue in contestation in that case. So that was more of what in law we say, a statement that is just made by incuriam. It was not a contestation before that court. But then they told the MCAs, we are sorry, you will never serve for 5 years. Your election must be called before the 5 years end. And even your remedy of being compensated, you cannot be compensated because you are serving public office. It's not a private enterprise. So the public will not compensate you for not serving for 5 years. So that case affirms that there is no guaranteed 5-year term in our constitution. More so, even to those who are given that 5-year term specifically in the constitution.
So this was the case taken by MCAs to court.
Yes.
There was another case taken by Okiya Mtata.
Yes.
And Nyakina Wycliffe Gisebe.
Yes.
In November 2020.
Yes.
What was that case about?
Now, that case sought to get the High Court to interpret the date of the general election.
Yeah.
And the court, if you look at the judgment, does not discuss again. In fact, the court adopted the decision made by incuriam by the Court of Appeal to say the Court of Appeal, in any event, has since said that the elections will be held in August 2022, so I'm not going to delve into it. And it dismisses the petition, so there's no discussion in the Mtata case. But also, you must note, there's what in law we call the course of action. The course of action in the Mtata case was in relation to the 2022 presidential elections. That course of action is different from the course of action to date. Because today, the course of action that we are seeking is an election to be held within the year 2026, the 5th year, when it falls. This is a fresh course of action. It has not been litigated anywhere. And we will be inviting the members of the public and the courts to take into account the provisions of our constitution on when the presidential elections are supposed to be held.